Of course, when I decided to film, someone is playing music in the neighborhood. I can't believe this. Hey everyone, this is Kat and welcome back to the bookish side of me. First and foremost, I am so sorry for all the background noise that you are gonna hear in this video. So if you're following me on Instagram and Twitter, I think that you're kind of noticing that I've been reading less than what I used to. And in the first quarter of this year, I've been reading 10 to 12 books a month. But last May, I read 4 to 5 books, which is very unusual for me, and it is because of one reason, and I'm just gonna admit that and be guilty about it. So I am stuck and I'm trapped in this rabbit hole of fandom. I'm whipped. I'm obsessed. BTS just came into my life suddenly and I felt like a lot of things have changed in me. I don't know how to explain that. This feeling and experience is very nostalgic to me because I've been a Taylor Swift fan for more than 10 years. It's not like just I'm a casual listener. I'm really into the fandom. Like, I've met friends in Swifties fandom. I've attended events and launches in the Philippines. So I felt like the younger me has returned with all this fandom stuff. And I can't believe that at this age, I'm still into this. Like, oh my god. But anyway, to the point of this video, I just thought of doing this since I'm just like super obsessed with this boys and I just want to share it with other people and just create content using my love for this guys. So that's why I'm doing this. But also I just want to make this video in time for the Festa, my first ever BTS Festa. Oh my god. By the way, if you don't know what Festa is, it is like a celebration for BTS's anniversary. So this month on June 13th, it's gonna be their 8th anniversary. And right now, as a hardcore army, I just wanna dedicate this whole video for the boys, for my angels, for the 7 guys who are my comfort and my light and my inspiration. Anyway, let's hop into this video before I get sentimental or emotional in here. So let's move on to the books that I'm going to recommend to you based on the 7 members of Bangtan Sonyeondan or BTS. Okay, so as I have mentioned, I am going to recommend you books based on each member's personality. So I have here 7 books as well. And I just want to say that these personalities or characteristics that I will mention in this video are just based on my observation as a fan. I am not sure how they are in real life. Okay, so let's start with the leader of the group, my president, Kim Namjoon, who is also known as RM. So RM is the best leader in the world. I think that he really kept the balance between the group and also like with the label. So I just really have high respect and high regard for RM. He always inspires me to do better, and his words are just words of encouragement and motivation in life. His music, he's a great lyricist. Oh my god, what a great songwriter he is. I just really loved it. And of course, RM is the biggest reader of the group, so you can see a lot of like book recommendations. He has a massive list that's on the internet if you want to check that out. Every time I see RM or I hear him talk, it's very philosophical, it's very introspective, it's always like inspirational and existential at the same time. He's just an intellect. So RM is like the genius in the group. He's like the brain of the group. He has 148 IQ, which we already know, and like he has a lot of brain cells that I don't have in my life. So when I was thinking of a book that I'd like to recommend to you based on RM's personality, the first genre that comes to my mind is literary fiction, stories that are philosophical and symbolic, stories that have meaning and well thought. I chose a book that is already on his recommendations list, and this is Please Look After Mom by JUNGKOOK Shin. So this one is a literary fiction. It follows the story of a Korean family, and the story will start when their mother, who is 69 years old, got lost in Seoul State station. So her husband lost her in the crowd while they were trying to visit one of their children, and they are going to find her and search her throughout the book. And while they're doing so, there are a lot of like memories that will unfold, a lot of secrets that will revealed, and also some suppressed emotions that were covered from their past and within their family. It is in second person narrative, and there's also multiple POVs from the children and also the husband. So this book is just very captivating and intriguing. I think it's the kind of book that will make you think for a while, sit down, process it. So if you're looking for a literary fiction that has a unique way of presenting a family story, I highly recommend this book. I just love this so much. The next member of BTS that we're gonna talk about is the eldest of the group, and this is Kim Seok-jin, or known as Jin. To be honest, I found it hard to find a book for Jin. Personally, I think that Jin is also one of the smartest of the group. He knows what's up, he knows a lot, and he also has wisdom. So, I just admire that about him. Also, like, he is the funniest in the group. Oh my god, he's like the Joker. He's like the comedian in the group. I can't with Jin. So with the book that I'm going to recommend you based on Jin's personality, I had the most difficult time in figuring this out because I don't read a lot of funny books or like the humorous ones. And what I found is actually a Filipino written book. So this is in Tagalog, this is in Filipino. I'm so sorry if there's a non-Filipino viewer right now because I can't really find a book that is very funny as Kim Seok-jin in international language. And this is a comics or a graphic novel which I love dearly. And this book is Ang Hari ng Commute, Ang Pagkilala by Lizette Dalus. Oh my gosh, this tiny little book is like Kim Seok-jin all over it. So this one is not really a story, but it's a graphic novel, it's a comics wherein you will see like the daily struggles of Filipino commuters, especially in Manila. So you will see different situations in commuting here in the Philippines. And it was just a really funny book, but at the same time, it makes sense. It makes sense. So that is Kim Seok-jin for me. He's a really funny guy. He's like a comedian at its best, but he always makes sense. Everything that he says makes sense. And this book for me is how I will describe him. Alright, so now let's move on to the next member, who is Min Yoongi, or also known as SUGA. So basically, Yoongi is like the quietest of the group. Although I cannot really say that he's like very quiet, because when there is like interview or when they are together and brainstorming about stuff, I think Yoongi is one of the people who always speaks his mind. So he's quiet in a way that he doesn't create nonsense noise, if you know what I'm trying to say. I mean, he's a funny guy also. Like, he's savage and everybody knows it. But he's also like kind of mysterious at some point because like his face doesn't show what his emotions are. And whenever he speaks, just like RM, he encourages me. There's a certain way Yoongi speaks that has so much substance in it, and a certain way that he writes the lyrics of their songs. That's just how I see him. Basically, the way that I pick a book to describe Yoongi is just to find a book that is kind of mysterious, that at first you don't know what is it about, and it can be a little bit scary. Then you will find out that the book just makes sense. So the book that I'm talking about is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Basically, the first time that I saw this one, I thought it's gonna be a monster story, but then as the story progresses, it actually isn't. So it's somehow contemporary middle grade with a little bit of magical realism. Like, there are symbolism in this book that would make the story more interesting. But basically, you're following the story of Connor. He is dealing with a lot of things in his life. There's a lot of bullying and he feels isolated, he feels alone, and he's also dealing a problem inside their home. And there is a big story behind everything that has happened to Connor. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop there because I might spoil you some things about this book and I don't want to do that for you. Okay, let's move on to my bias. Okay, you guys already know I'm a J-Hope stan since day one. I just love this man so much. I can't express how much he gives me comfort and motivation every single day. He's really an angel that I never thought that I needed in this world. So anyway, for Hobie, the way that I would like to describe him, I know that everyone has been saying like he's the sunshine. He has this bright and positive energy. He's very optimistic. He's the one who's the most stable in the group. I think Namjoon and other members have mentioned this, how professional Hobie is. They were like, he's the pillar of this group, something that holds them down and holds them to the ground. So the book that I'm going to recommend to you based on Hobie and based on what I felt about him and how I see him is one of my favorite books of all time, and this book is just warmth and comfort. And this book is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. If you don't know yet, this is an adult fiction. It's actually a fantasy. So it follows the story of Linus, who is a caseworker in this department, wherein they try to investigate or monitor the orphanages of these children if they are being treated right. So one day, Linus was assigned to monitor the orphanage in the Cerulean Sea, and there he will meet this amazing special children and the master of the orphanage, who is Arthur. And this book is just a journey about uniqueness and individuality and how difficult it is to be accepted when you are different from others. So yeah, this is my book for Hobie. Okay, last 3 books that I have in here. The next book is for Park Jimin or Chim Chim. The way that I want to describe Jimin is more than his appearance, more than his sex appeal, which we all agree that he has. Jimin is such a precious, genuine person. He's that friend that you just want to be with. He's very thoughtful, like he's very considerate of his members. I also kind of observed that he has this personality of having confidence, but at the same time, he strives hard for perfection. But the book that I'm going to recommend you is probably a book that everybody has already read, but I think this book is just so perfect for Jimin because this is a YA story that has a great friendship, but at the same time, it has a great romance. And the book that I'm talking about is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire Saenz. So obviously, the main characters are Aristotle and Dante, and they are just 2 young boys who met in an unexpected time, wherein they don't think that they need friends, and they were very different to one another. Like, they have opposite personalities, but somehow they work to be friends, and they bonded so much in the story, and they're going to discover themselves within that relationship and also outside it. So I really think that this is perfect for Jimin because of how I love the friendship in this book, and I love Jimin and how he treats other members of the group as friends, and how tight and how emotionally attached Jimin is to other members. So if you haven't read this book yet, I highly recommend it. It's worth the hype. It's worth all the stamps in here. It's worth all the awards in the world. Just as much Jimin is worth of the hype. Like, he's worth of the praises and the compliments that he's getting because he just deserves it. So yeah. So second to the last member, of course, Kim Tae-young, or known as V. Basically, Kim Tae-young, we all agree that he is the most handsome guy in the universe, in the whole wide world. He's the most charming. V is also one of the members that has a very complex personality. The way that he presents himself is just so unique. Like, he has a very different way on expressing himself. He's like out of his way and out of his box. He's so creative. Like, he can come up with ideas that no one has ever done before or no one has ever think of, but at the same time, he's such a classic guy. Like, his interests, his hobbies, he likes art and photography. I just admire Kim Tae-young. Like, his whole personality, I just admire him, and it's so hard to box him in a certain way because he's not like that. So the book that I'm going to recommend is, I think this book just challenged my creativity back then. It's a classic book, which I think is very fitting for Taeyoung's taste. This is one of my favorite classics and one that I'm not intimidated to read when I was in college. And this book is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint Exupéry. I don't think if that's how you pronounce his name, but yeah. So I think everybody have read this book or knows about it at the very least because it's a very popular classic. And I also remember that this book was recommended by one of the members. I can't remember if it's Taeyong or Jimin, but one of them recommended The Little Prince. And I think that is just really so perfect for Taeyong. I think the creativity and the classicness, is that a word? Of this book is just so fitting for Kim Taeyong. So that's it for my book review. Last and final member of the group is, of course, JUNGKOOK or JUNGKOOK. This is the golden maknae. In a way, I'm also kind of lost for words in describing JUNGKOOK. But then I thought of one thing, and that is he's good at everything. Like, he's good at every music genre that he chose to. Like, he's good at singing, at rapping. He's good at arts. Like, he draws so well. His paintings are immaculate. He also is good at sports. And he knows household chores. He has good looks, great fashion. He's also a very kind person. He is so respectful of his older members. This guy is just so perfect. Perfection. So when I was looking for a book that I will recommend to you based on JUNGKOOK, I want to find a book that is just perfect. I want to find a book that has everything that's good in every single aspect, in every single manner. And this book that I'm going to recommend you has great plot, great storyline, amazing characters, amazing setting, has great cultural and societal commentaries, has great gender representation. So this book is just perfection. It's one of my favorite reads of this year. So this book is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. And I've talked about this in my previous video that I love this book with all my heart. This book is perfection. Even the cover is perfect. Like, the naked cover is even more perfect. Like, look at that. So beautiful, so pretty. This book is a YA fantasy. It follows the story of Yadriel and Julian. Yadriel is a trans guy, so he was trying to prove himself to be a real brujo in their family because apparently they are not very accepting or welcoming of his gender. So in this story, he will try to summon a spirit of his dead cousin, and by doing that, he summoned another spirit who is Julian, who is going to be the love interest in the story. So the story will start with them trying to figure out what happened to his cousin and then trying to find out how did Julian died in the story. So this book is just perfection. It's just chef's kiss. I love the plot twist. I love the characters. I love Julian and Yadriel. I love their romance in here. I love the friendships. Oh my god, I love everything about this book. That's why I'm telling you to read this book right now. Oh my goodness. So this one in particular, I just recommended it based on Jungkook's personality because I really feel like if I will think of a person that is perfect, I'm gonna think of Jungkook. And if I will think of a book that everything is perfect, the first book that comes to my mind is Cemetery Boys. So that's how I connected the two. Alright, so that's it for this video. Finally, I'm done after all the sweat and all the noise in the background. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you get to pick one book or two from this recommendations list. And yeah, that's it. I hope that you are safe, you are healthy, you're happy wherever you are. I hope that you continue to love yourself, to take care of yourself because you deserve it. And just remember, the world is yours for the reading. Bye and see you on the next one.